It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and with me, as always, I have Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw. How are you, Shawn?
I'm doing pretty good for now, Gary. We'll wait till we get to the rush recap and you can ask me again.
Thought out, are you, Shawn? There were a couple of statues on Shawn's porch, and turned out there were family members that were actually waiting for the door.
Yeah.
A little cool over there lately.
A little bit.
But, I don't know if you guys are like us, and we're in the big thaw now. So pretty soon we're going to be talking about flooding, not so much snow. But, every week something different over here in Canada. And over in Connecticut, we got Muffler Mike. Muffler, how are you?
I'm doing good. There was a flood of sorts in Buffalo as well. So
well, yes, that was just the fans trying to pile into whatever Highmark Stadium, and they had them go under their shovel again because they had another 2 feet of snow on Wednesday or Thursday. That's 5 feet of snow in a week. I can't even fathom that. Like 5 winters.
Same. Yeah.
Like somebody needs to turn off that snow machine, that complete thing over Lake Erie. It's just bizarre. Just one. And if you haven't been in that line, you're done. Yeah. If you're an inch one way or the other, you sit there and laugh at people who are inside that line. Anyways, I digress. Welcome to the show. It's been a great week. We had some terrific NLL games this weekend, and Shawn, not so great NLL games this week. Just taking a look quickly. Eduardo was with us. St. Augustine, Florida. Chilly, 49 degrees.
Yeah.
Rub it in. Rub it in.
I wish, yeah.
49 degrees, I'd be out in shorts.
Yeah.
And a drink in my hand, and away we go. I pulled out the old retro rock jersey. We're doing those kind of numbers now. They're 5-0, and we'll get into that game with a couple of milestones in that as well. Just before we get rolling, just from the network, just remind you that all the shows are streamed across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. And you can catch all the action on EOPsports.com. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons, and always share. As you can see, we got a lot of shows for a lot of people. So please let people know that we have shows for everybody on every day of the week. If you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts on all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Spotify, as well as so much more. And if you missed a show, also no problem. You can catch it on the YouTube page of EOP Sports, or if you're looking for our show in particular, you can catch it on the All Lacrosse All The Time YouTube page, where you can catch our entire library. As well, as we speak now, there is a premiere going on of the Toronto Rock versus Philadelphia Wings game from 2010. And later this evening, Rochester against Buffalo from the HSBC Arena, from 2009 will be up there as well. Also, you can stay up to date with all Philly sports and everybody else's sports by visiting EOPsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. While you're there, please subscribe to our newsletter. Just a reminder, this part of our show is brought to you by Dolan's.
All right, guys, when you're staying local and you want to watch a great game or just hang out with some great people, make sure to go to Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Avenue at Ridley Park. Right off of I-95, south of Philadelphia Airport, Dolan's Bar is the place to be. Great music, great times, memorabilia giveaways, great drinks, and even better food. You never know when a former Philly sports icon walks through the door. You got to go to Dolan's, 24 East Sellers Ave at Ridley Park. Tell PJ that EOP sent you. Go to dolansbar.com or follow them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or even TikTok. We'll see you there for the game.
And if you're looking for Jason Kelsey, he's actually at the Buffalo-Kansas City game in the booth with Taylor Swift. Now you can all relax. The Swiftie report has been finished.
That's it, yeah.
Casey is up 27-24 right now in the beginning of the fourth quarter. A nip and tuck kind of game. Eduardo let us know that he's also in shorts too. What did it do? Thanks, Eduardo, for that up to the date, up to the moment report. You're like a part of WKRP in Cincinnati. Thanks, Les, for that up on the spot report. Anyways, guys, a little bit of news. Not much this week, but Brianna Thompson has joined the Global Lacrosse Women's Network, and her little bit of resume. She's with the Wolves Junior A Lacrosse organization and thrilled to announce the addition of Brianna Tremblay to the coaching staff. With an impressive background in box lacrosse spanning 20 plus years, Brianna brings a wealth of experience, leadership, and passion for developing young talent. Brianna proudly represented Nova Scotia in both boys and girls programs at the Nationals, showcasing her versatility and skill in the game. In 2014, she achieved national glory, winning gold at the Nationals while representing Ontario. As a key player and captain, Brianna secured multiple Ontario lacrosse provincial championships with the Whitby Warriors. Last summer, Brianna coached the LNS under-13 girls to a bronze medal in Regina, demonstrating her ability to guide and inspire young athletes. Brianna contributed to the Six Nations Snipers Women's Major Lacrosse Major Series Championship in 2016 as the captain of the Arena Lacrosse League Blazers women's team. She leads and achieved success securing the Women's ALL Championship in 2022 as well. Brianna is not only dedicated to the growth of lacrosse in Canada, but is also making waves on the global stage. She currently serves as a Women's Lacrosse Global Network ambassador, advocating for the expansion of girls box lacrosse worldwide. Her commitment to the sport has earned her a spot on the Women's Global Network team representing Canada in Prague in 2024 at SheBox. Join us in welcoming Brianna to the Wolves family. Very confident that her extensive experience, leadership, and passion for the game will contribute immensely to the development and success of their Junior A program. I actually look forward to meeting her when I go to Prague for the Rubeski tournament because I believe they are coinciding with one another. I know I'll be chatting and meeting up with Michelle Boyer there as well. Should be an excellent time if you have a couple of weeks spare. End of April is a great time to catch some terrific lacrosse out in Prague, as well as some great history, some great architecture, great food, man, too. Pretty cool beer, too, remember?
Absolutely.
It is definitely not a turf monster. Or whatever they're serving this year. The penalty box at the Rock game, I got to show you guys this because it's ingenious thinking. Now, whenever the opposing team gets a penalty over there, you get that, you can't do that, you can't do. Well, we put that on the boards now. And I love that. Don't worry, you won't be here long, courtesy of the Toronto Rock power play. Genius. You gotta have fun with this stuff. Anyways, let's move on. The MSL draft was held today at the Rock Athletic Center. 4 rounds. The one name that comes out to me as first overall was Chris Riglieri from Orangeville, and of course your San Diego Seals. And he went to the Owen Sound North Stars. All the other names, really not big names. Dylan Robinson was going to Brooklyn as well. Also Beaches Lacrosse. But as the rest of it is up on our page if you want to take a look at all the names and who went where for this MSL draft. Summer Bowl is just around the corner, guys. Doesn't have warmed up inside.
Hard to believe.
Yeah,
So we're up inside a little bit. I know. Anyways, that'll bring us over to the Arena Lacrosse League, and the Arena Lacrosse League East had 5 games that went off on Saturday. And there you go. There's all your scores. Firebirds beat the Sirens 11-2. The Cobras beat the Sirens 4-3. The Skyhawks beat the Firebirds 6-2. Skyhawks then beat the Blazers 6-1. And the Blazers and the Cobras tied 3-3. The West games from ALL West, I haven't gotten any scores yet. But as soon as I get them, I will have them up on our page. Taking a look at the Arena Lacrosse League over in the East and the men's, we go back to Friday where the Oshawa Outlaws beat the Brampton Express 16-12 at the Memorial Arena. And even though after a slow start, the Outlaws put in gear, never looking back. They were down 4-0 only 6 minutes into the game, which included a shorthanded marker. But Oshawa put together a 5-goal run of their own in a game that featured special teams. 10 power play goals, 4 shorthanded goals between the two teams. Oshawa showed they could play with the best of the league, scoring 6 times on the man up and 3 times on the man down. Outlaws continue to work their way through the league. They're up around number 3 in the power rankings when we take a look at that in a few minutes. Brampton, to their credit, kept the game close all evening. At the half, Oshawa had a slim 1-goal lead. The Outlaws pulled away in the fourth with 3 quick goals that the Express just wasn't able to overcome. Looking at the top scorers for the game, Chris Atwood had 5 goals and an assist, which led the way, with help from Alex Simmons, who had 3 goals and 4 assists, and Garrett Hay, who had 4 goals and 2 assists. John St. John was the playmaker of playmakers. He had a goal but 11 assists in this game. Your 3 stars for the game was John St. John from Oshawa, Jake McNabb from Brampton, and Gareth Hay from Oshawa. Moving over to Saturday afternoon at the Millbrook Arena in around Peterborough, it was a football score. The Peterborough Timbermen beat the Six Nations Snipers. Are you sitting for this, guys? 25-19.
Oh,
Jeez.
Yes, it was a defensive battle of battles,
do
really.
they have goaltenders in that game?
And in a high-flying, high-scoring game, Peterborough outlasted the Six Nations Snipers 25-19 Saturday afternoon. The Timbermen never trailed in this game with 3 power play goals and 4 shorthanded markers. Were able to put this in the win column. Six Nations special teams were also firing on all cylinders with 5 power play goals. The majority of the first half was close, with the score tied on 3 separate occasions. The Timbermen were able to pull away just before the half, scoring 12 of the 14 goals to be up 19-9 near the end of the third. But the Snipers didn't quit. They scored 10 more times, and it was just a little bit too big of a hole to dig out of, and your final was 25-19. Saturday evening over at the Rock Athletic Center, a little bit of a closer game, guys. The Toronto Monarchs edged the Oswego Bears 12-11. Oswego had a good start in the game, jumping out to a 3-0 lead and a 5-2 lead. Third quarter saw back and forth action, with the score being tied on 4 separate occasions. Though Oswego was up 10-8 in the fourth, 4-goal run from the Monarchs grabbed this game from the jaws of defeat and put this in a win column for the Monarchs. The Bears did pull within 1 with just 52 seconds left, but Toronto was able to hold off for the 12-11 win. This afternoon over at Iroquois Lacrosse Arena over in Hagersville, the Whitby Steelhawks were able to beat the Paris River Wolves 14-11, which means we have no more undefeated teams in the ALL. In one of the most highly anticipated games of the year, the number 1 and number 2 seeds finally faced each other. The game did not disappoint. Whitby, fresh off their loss to Oshawa last week, came into this game on a mission. Paris, with the only other undefeated team, had other ideas. Very evenly played first quarter. A pair of late goals by Liam Osborne and Tyler Goodchild had Whitby in the lead 4-3. Strong second quarter in which the Steelhawks scored 6 times, had Paris chasing the rest of the afternoon. In the second half, Whitby increased their lead to 12-6 with Devin Pfeiffer and Brett Harrison scoring. The River Wolves put together a push themselves, scoring 5 of the next 6 goals. However, again, the hole was a little bit too deep, and Whitby held on for the convincing 14-11 victory. 11 different scorers for the Whitby squad, just showing you how potent they can be. Curtis Woodland and Devin Prince led the way for Paris in this game. If we look at the power rankings, Whitby has regained the number 1 spot, 5-1 record. Paris is number 2 at 4-1. Oshawa is holding steady at 4-2. The Peterborough Timbermen are right on their heels at 4-2 as well. The Toronto Monarchs are sitting in 5th with their victory. Up, they're at a 2-4 record. Oswego is at 2-3. They've dropped the last couple of games, which has put them down in the power rankings. Brampton is struggling at 1-4, and Six Nations is flailing away over at 0-5 in the 8th spot. Taking a look at the couple of games that went on in the ALL West, the Sea Spray beat the Blackfish 11-8, and there has been Oh, we do have a final score. The Shooting Eagles beat the Grizzlies 17-15 in that little to-do over in Langley. Curious if I can pull up the standings. ALL West, the Shooting Eagles are in first with a 7-2 record. Sea Spray second at 5-4. Blackfish at 4-5, and the Grizzlies coming up the rear at 2-7. As we talked about in the ALL East, Whitby, Paris, Peterborough, and Oshawa take the first 4 spots. Toronto, Oswego, Brampton, and Six Nations take up the bottom 4 spots. Interesting stuff going on. Upcoming games. The first game is Friday night. The Steelhawks are in Brampton for an 8 o'clock game at the Memorial Arena if you happen to be near the Brampton area. On Saturday, you have the Snipers over at the Monarchs at the Toronto Rock Athletic Center. That's a Saturday night game, 7:30 p.m. over in Oakville. On the Sunday, they have 2 games going on at the Iroquois Lacrosse Arena. The early game is 1 o'clock, and you have the Oshawa Outlaws against the Paris Riverwolves. And the 4 o'clock late game is the Peterborough Timbermen against the Oswego Bears. Good schedule. And in the West, the Grizzlies face the Sea Spray at 1 p.m. Pacific, and the Blackfish face the Eagles at 4 p.m. Pacific over at Langley Event Center. Well, guys, that brings us over to our favorite part of the day. Yes, you got it.
Oh boy.
There's carnage.
Yeah.
Man. There's arms and legs everywhere. I'm telling you. Oh, boy. Patrick's with us. How are you, Pat?
Hey, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
Good to hear from you. And Ryan, you did miss the recap. I gave a glowing event to them, and they are looking really good. I got to give you credit as an assistant coach that you are doing terrific. And that team is looking to do some big, big things. Like I said at the beginning of the year, they're only going to sit in the bottom for a little bit. The Wings are back, and Patrick will be back next week.
Oh yeah.
Giving us the whole to do with all the skinny that's going on there. Eduardo's ready to take care of everything too. Yeah, the Outlaws did play a heck of a game. Absolutely. But yeah, looking at our carnage, Pat, myself, and Shawn all did wonderful at 1 and 4.
Yeah.
I'm amazed we got the 1. And, for a while there, it looked like we weren't going to get the 1 because Georgia was taking care of Toronto for 3 quarters out of 4. Muffler Mike is over at 2 and 3. And we have a new leader, Eduardo, with 3 and 2, even though I got it messed up there. Eduardo is leading the pack there with a 24 and 18 record. Shawn is in second at 23 and 19. Pat and I are tied at 22 and 20. And Muffler Mike is right on our tails, nipping. I actually feel him on my heels at 20 and 22. So when I have my bad next week, Muffler Mike will be passing me.
Mike's making a comeback.
You heard it here first.
Here.
Still
telling
plenty
you,
of
man.
season left.
If we're looking at who's made the most leaps, we got Muffler Mike for that. I'm telling you. Just in case anybody's wondering, it's a Chris White authentic jersey. In his two years with the Rock. This then became a Kevin Crowley jersey for his 3 months with the Rock. Just putting that out there, guys. Anyways, a little bit of NLL news. Our players of the week for last week, Christian Del Bianco with 48 saves and just 7 goals against Vancouver was the player of the week. The rookie of the week was Jason Knox, who had a great game for Panther City, 4 goals and an assist. We had a couple of very big milestones this week. Last night, Lyle Thompson got his 300th career NLL goal. And, of course, in true Lyle fashion, and you'll see it on our clips, an absolute highlight reel goal in which he, jumped across the crease and actually brought it back and put it short side while in the air. Just, typical Lyle Thompson goal, as the rest of us just need a chiropractor just thinking about that. Matt Vince, even though he had a rough start to this game, played a real good second half. But again, they dug a big hole for themselves. Excuse me, for the first half. And we'll get into that game in a few minutes. 10,000 career saves plus now.
Oh,
That's outstanding.
yeah.
Just every week, it's just a new record for Matt Vince, adding to his, ultra platinum Hall of Fame career. There should be a different wing for Matt Vince with all the records and accomplishments and all the different things that he has done in his stellar career. If there is ever a doubt who was the greatest goalie of all time, here he is. There he is. I would argue
Oh,
with
no,
anyone
no doubt.
from any era about it. I don't care about equipment. You take a look at what he has to face game in, game out. And that doesn't even include all the other accolades from MSL, from Man Cup, from Canadians, from other things. I believe he used to play a forward position when he was doing MLL because he didn't want to face these guys in the summer. So he was in good enough shape that he could take on any forward role. Just amazing.
That's the thing.
And in his 40s, he still puts people to shame with the shape he's in. He is in fantastic shape. And he can play as long as he wants to play, really. If he wants to get out in a year or two, nobody's going to complain and nobody's going to argue. But if he wants to play until he's 50, I'm sure he could still outlast, if not all the goalies out there, 2/3 of them. That's how good a goalie he is. Steph Charbonneau. This is a nice milestone also. 300 loose balls for his career. I've had a chance to watch him since his Mimico days as a junior, and you knew he was going to be something. And thank God he's proven me correct. He's just a spectacular player, and I'm sure that Philadelphia is, hurting losing him all those years. All right, guys, shall we get into some of our fantastic games? The NLL had 5 games this week. And, of course, the first game of the week was Friday night in Buffalo. It's the Jeff Teat night, really. It was a Tucker lymphoma night. And, Jeff Teat put on a show and a half. 5 goals, 4 assists for Mr. Teat. If we look at the game, Riptide got on the board first with Mitch Wild on a breakaway. Went with a sidearm shot that beat Matt Vince through the 5-hole just over a minute into the game. Chase Fraser answered with a behind-the-back shot, which just was incredible. And that tied the game up off a Dane Smith pass a minute and a bit later. The initial save was actually saved by Dunkerley, but the momentum had him fall backwards into the net. The Bandits took the lead when Chase Fraser's hit a second of the night. His shot caught the short side off a Josh Byrne pass at 3:14. Stephen Keogh tied the game up for New York when he fired a quick shot to the top corner off a Kyle Matisse feed, followed by Riley O'Connor converting a Jeff Teat pass on a give and go at 10:04 for the lead. Josh Byrne tied the game up, firing a screen shot from the outside to the short side off a Brandon Robinson pass. And after the first quarter, it was Buffalo tied with New York 3-3. Then Jeff Teat started getting involved. Jeff Teat opened the second quarter scoring with a shot to the far corner off a Kevin Brunel pass at 21 seconds, followed by Kyle Matisse converting a Teat pass at 1:51 to give the Riptide a 2-goal lead. Teat then fired a low-to-low laser off a Matisse pass at 2:41, followed by Larson Sundown diving from behind the net on a delayed penalty at 3:14. Stephen Keogh fired a low-to-low shot from in front of the net on another delayed penalty to the Bandits. And Jeff Teat's third of the quarter picked the top corner off a Kyle Matisse pass on the power play at 5:44. At this stage, the Bandits changed goalies, and Stephen Orleman got his first action of the year since Brendan Shanahan was scratched for the game. Riptide welcomed Orleman to the game not long in, and Connor Kiernan dove and shot to the short side off a Stephen Keogh pass at 7:30. Buffalo got one back shorthanded when Dane Smith picked up a Riptide pass going coast to coast for the unassisted goal. New York answered right back with Kyle Matisse firing a howitzer from the outside off a Jeff Teat pass at 9:57 for his second of the night. Matt Vince then went back into the net. and made a few more saves towards his 10,000th save. Josh Byrne hit the short side off a Dane Smith pass at 11:43, followed by Ian McKay firing a sidearm shot in transition to bring the game within 5. So at the half, it was New York 11, Buffalo 6 to a very silent 17,000 people in the KeyBank Center in Buffalo. The Bandits got moving quickly in the third, though. Toka Nanticoke opened the second half scoring with a quick stick off a Josh Byrne pass at 1:43, followed by Chase Fraser's third of the night, also off a Byrne feed at 2:32. Stephen Keogh scored his second of the night, converting a Larson sundown pass on a broken play to stop the Bandits' 4-goal run, which went back to the second quarter, but was answered by Dane Smith on the power play, converting a Chase Fraser pass at 8:29. The Riptide survived a Buffalo 2-man advantage with some excellent penalty killing and kept their 3-goal lead heading into the fourth quarter. However, Ian McKay opened the fourth scoring off a Josh Byrne pass 119 into the wide open net. It was a pretty incredible play, pulling the goalie Dunkerley to one side, and Ian McKay had a wide open goal for that. Stephen Keogh scored his third of the night to answer back for the Riptide off a Colin Matisse pass at 3 minutes even. Nanticoke then dunked a shot from behind the net off a Chase Fraser pass, followed by Josh Byrne finding his way out in front and banking off a Dunkerley to bring the game within 1. Chase Fraser's fourth of the game tied this thing up, and you just felt the momentum swinging. However, Jeff Teat, there you go. He answered with his fourth of the night off a Riley O'Connor feed just 22 seconds later and stopped all the momentum and quieted down the KeyBank Center once and for all. Matt Marinier scored into an empty net with 2.6 seconds left in the game to put an exclamation point into this game. New York wins 15-13. Your 3 stars was Jeff Teat, Josh Byrne, and Stephen Keogh. Shots on goal favored Buffalo 58-43. The faceoff battle went to the Riptide 19-12. The loose ball battle went to the Bandits 73-58. New York went 2 for 3 on the power play. Buffalo went 1 for 4 on the power play, but scored 1 shorthanded goal. Quite the game. We got some clips on there just to back up what I just told you about.
Now back over to Smith. Smith floater in front, over the shoulder shot. Crossing the line, and yes, goal scored by Chase Fraser. Mike Hazen said, we've already got enough righties. We're going to push you along. There's a shot score by New York. Very crafty.
McKay.
New York on to attack down into the Buffalo zone. Retaining the ball over, not resetting the shot clock. They score! How about that one, Jeff Teat?
And by everybody, you can buy one, and the proceeds go to charity for pediatric cancer. And a quick goal there for New York.
How about that? Paying dividends off. New York inside the Buffalo zone here in the second quarter of play. Leading at 5-3. Shot score! Jeff Teat with a low laser. New York whittling away the time with the man advantage. Or the extra attacker, I should say. The shot just to the right side. They score!
And again, 6th attacker out for the Riptide.
Teat's got the ball from the top of the slot over the shoulder feed. Very quick, they score! 3 seconds remaining. New York with an 8-3 lead over Buffalo.
And Jeff Teat working the top of that power play from the shooter spot.
For the veteran defender. Pretty good transition player, too. And speaking of which, there's a shot and a goal scored by New York. Relentless is the crew chief tonight out on the turf. There's a break for Buffalo. Streaking in, there's a shot, score!
Appreciate the time, Dan. Thanks so much. Guys?
Thank you, Dan, former Buffalo Bandit, 2005 to 2008. And how about that one? Go Buffalo! Giving it to O'Connor. There's a shot on by Teat. Rebound, New York, score! How about that one by Stephen Keogh? The restage of the attack, of which reset on the shot clock. Leading it by 2, 12-10. Short range shot, score! He'll be with Nanticoke. Fraser with a swing move. Low drive wide. Nanticoke looking for the rebound. He's got a diving shot. Scores!
Stick. Over into the backcourt.
Good hit on Jones. There's Byrne. Takes the shot. He scores. Move by Weiss to Nanticoke, who finds an open Chase Fraser with the swim move. Fraser scores. Fourth goal of the game for Fraser. Here is Teat leaving it back out. Now Teat again with a shot. He scores. What a nice setup back in the second half. Dane Smith leaves it back over. The hot hand Fraser with a drive, and Dunkerley comes up with a beauty of a save.
And they came down and scored in the empty net. And 15-13 was your final. Some great goals. It's funny, when Chase Fraser tied the game up and did the, and 22 seconds later, Teat goes by and actually don't count your chickens.
Yeah.
And we have Brian Cole with us. Brian, welcome. Thank you very much. We appreciate your
Thanks for
patience.
tuning in. Yeah, that last goal by Teat was just that was just great.
Yeah.
That was something.
Great set play there, just feeding it to O'Connor, and everyone just peels off Teat, thinking it's an outside shot, and he goes right back inside. So
Yeah, and his accuracy is just incredible.
Oh.
yeah, the other thing we can't ignore: 15 goals on 43 shots for the game.
Yeah.
That's over 33% for the game.
On a goalie who's made 10,000 saves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a rough night for Vince. Yeah.
It's
So talk about
kind of
making the most
bittersweet.
of
You
the
can't really
opportunities.
celebrate your achievement because, Buffalo almost did Buffalo-esque things and came back. And boy, would we be talking about the blown lead of, it was a 7-goal run that New York went on in the second. It was 10-3 at one point. You would almost figure that it's toast at that point, and it would be incorrect with that assessment.
Right.
Buffalo is never out of any game. They just have so much power. Look at Josh Byrne and some of the goals he was scoring, let alone Chase Fraser. And then still, we never really seen Dane Smith, Token Nanticoke with a goal or two. Chris Kluche didn't get a goal. Yeah, very silent. So these guys are all, there too. So when they get rolling, they can put them up with the best of them.
Right.
But, a solid defense. I'm very curious when Toronto plays Buffalo next week. And, the defense that Toronto has at the moment and the transition game, which has been saving them until their offense rolls. Because, missing Schreiber, now Dan Lintner got hurt in this game as well. So it's going to be interesting to see the different ideas that they have. T.D. Erlin was out for this game as well. And, they addressed Cam Milligan, but had him as a healthy scratch. But I imagine if Lintner's out, Milligan will be in for this game against Buffalo, which gives them some more scoring prowess. The one thing I really like about Cam is when he shoots, he's got the same positioning and the same fluid motion for a pass as a shot. So you're not really sure what he's doing, and he masks it beautifully. And I got a chance to watch that firsthand in Prague when he was with the Gales, and we talked a little bit about that on the other show as well. And of course, his days in Peterborough and now with the Rock. So it's a pretty cool thing. Anyways, let's keep moving along. Our next game is the Albany-San Diego game, and we do not have a. Now, of course, I picked Albany, so they lost. So we do not have an undefeated Albany team now. Dixon and Stotts each score 4 goals as the Sales hand the Firewolves their first loss of the season.
Yeah, big game from Dixon, 4 goals. Stotts had 4 goals and 3 assists. Westberg 2 and 5. Dane Doby 5 assists and a goal. And Chris Reguilieri, big game, 44 saves. And I don't want to say this one was over by halftime, but it almost kind of was.
The fat lady was warming up in the dressing room for sure.
Yeah. Two big runs. A run of 4 goals to start the game, into the second quarter even for San Diego, and Albany didn't score in the first quarter, and I think it's only the second quarter this season where they failed to score. So another 3-goal run puts them up 7-1. Alex Simmons gets a buzzer beater to make it 7-2 at halftime. And then Albany comes roaring back, and they pull within 1, but late in the game, another big run by San Diego. I believe it was 5 straight goals in the fourth quarter to kind of break the game open. And now the concern for Albany is going to be Doug Jamieson. He was replaced by Justin Getty to start the second half. Word is a lower body injury. They say it's not serious, but let's hope it's not not the start of a epic collapse for Albany. So if they do have a week off, I believe, before they have to play. I believe it's in 2 weeks. So I forget if they have a game this weekend. No, they are off next week. So
how did they do on the power play, Mike?
2 for 4, I believe. So better than they have been, but they're still, that's hopefully it's something they can start to fix, because this unit could really be something if they can get going, and capitalize on those man up opportunities that they're getting. So
I guess the other side I look at is 9 power
Absolutely.
plays for San Diego. That reeks of discipline a bit.
Yeah, and they and I think Albany's been fairly disciplined throughout most of the season. So maybe this is their one kind of misstep, and hopefully they can right things. But I think they have is it Vegas in 2 weeks? And I think it's in Vegas. So then that's going to be the back end of a 2-game set. And no, it'll be at home, because the first game against Vegas, they won in Vegas. So it'll be at home. But they're going to have some, they still have a few tough challenges ahead of them. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond basically to their first kind of low point of the season.
Right. All right, we have some clips from this game. Let's have a quick look at that.
The anthems began here at MVP Arena, so don't know if that has something to do with the delay and them returning, but doesn't really seem to matter.
Curtis Dixon scores shorthanded. He is a weapon.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, so that was the call right at the beginning of the game, but no power play goals and a shorty.
And on the move, San Diego, no goal. It appears Dixon was in the crease.
The angles being taken away there by Orglieri makes you kind of think that you might want to change the way you're looking at it, try for some chances, kind of like those.
Pump the fist, Austin Stotts, a freight train on the loose. Much tonight. Pass is picked off. Can Albany get something going on the break? Nishimura on the move, he scores! 6 seconds, 5 seconds, back to Kurtz downhill. Walker tiptoes, finds his man. Albany's power play is on the board. Simmons.
Getty in for the first time.
And Jamieson has his jersey off. Good catch, Dan, and Albany scores 5-on-5 for the first time tonight. Getty is the man between the pipes. He actually played for the Seals early in his career. Stinger, longbow. Tonight.
Absolutely the case. Game to runs, game to momentum. Brendan, goaltender to the bench, and a big one to end our third.
Dixon scores for the first time since early in the first. It's down there.
Ooh.
That was a snipe. Berg from up top, and there's Dane Doby. First of the night for Doby. Closed out their win against Halifax in the fourth quarter. Nishimura, a dart, and they get the goal right back. shaking free.
And that was your highlights from Albany for the San Diego victory. Just a reminder that this part of our show is brought to you by Sherry's Ticket Town.
All right, guys, it's time to talk about Sherry's Tickets. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less and play more with Sherry'sTickets.com. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. Do not pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. That's 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, do not overpay and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. Save 10% using the promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. You'll thank us later. Sherry'sTickets.com.
Absolutely. Let's move on to our next NLL game. And, Mike, the Rock are still undefeated. In franchise history, they're 5-0.
Yeah, that's hard to believe that.
Yeah.
I know. I had to double check that too. And you know what? It's true. It's true. Never before have they gone 5-0. And never before have they gone 4-0. So weird.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I know they've gone O-end. I lived through a bunch of those years, but that was the John Lovell year, man. They couldn't buy a victory. I think they went 0-7 or something like that. Their one year in that little chink there that they didn't make it to the playoffs. And then the following year, I think they made it to the finals and lost to Edmonton. But it was just weird how that worked. That was John Lovell's short Rock coaching career. I think that's when Matt Sawyer finally took over and has been there ever since. But anyways, Corey Small's 4 goals lead the Rock to a comeback win and a 5-0 start. Lyle nets his 300th in defeat. When we get to the highlights, you'll see that goal. You'll know it. It is incredible. Now, after a torrid pace, and I mean it was a track meet for the first 2/3 of that quarter, going back and forth with both goalies absolutely playing phenomenal. Brandon Slade finally beat Brett Dobson in transition on a breakaway, unassisted at 8:45. Georgia stormed right back when Lyle Thompson scored from the top of the crease off an Andrew Q pass just 17 seconds later. The pace continued the rest of the quarter, but the score stayed 1-1 after 1. Looked like we were going to get into a real pitcher's duel. That would change. Phil Mazuka opened up the second quarter doing Phil Mazuka-esque stuff in transition, scoring on a breakaway shorthanded, unassisted at 40 seconds. But again, the Swarm answered really quickly when Jordan McIntosh fired a shot to the far corner off an Adam Wiedemann pass at 2:27. Georgia took the lead when Seth Oakes scored from in close off a Lyle Thompson pass, followed by Andrew Q firing a shot from in close off a Shane Jackson feed at 6:56 for the 2-goal lead. The Rock got one back when Chris Boucher fired an absolute howitzer from in close to the far corner off a Mark Matthews pass. But Lyle Thompson answered with a vintage Thompson goal, and this is the one I'm talking about. Leaping across the crease, pulling it back and putting it actually short side behind Nick Rose off a Liam Burns pass. That was his 300th career goal. At the half, it was Toronto losing 5-3 to Georgia. The Rock opened up the third quarter, scoring on the power play when Corey Small quick stick to Chris Boucher pass at 1:28. But again, Lyle Thompson answered with a great individual effort, fooling the Rock defense off an Andrew Q pass at 2:45. Excuse me. The Swarm increased their lead on the power play when Seth Oakes converted a Lyle Thompson pass to the short side at 4:37. But Corey Small scored his second of the night for the Rock with a blast to the far corner off a Dan Craig pass. Corey Small then scored his third with a low-to-low laser from the outside, again off a Dan Craig pass, followed by Mark Matthews with an absolute beauty cross-body shot to the short side off a Dan Lentner pass at 13:20. The Swarm regained the lead when Shane Jackson found the back of the net off of the Seth Oakes feed at 14:08, and it was 8-7 Georgia heading into the fourth. Toronto tied the game quickly when Dan Craig dove across the crease off a Corey Small pass at 24 seconds. then took the lead when Corey Small scored from in close off a Dan Craig pass. On the power play, the Swarm tied it up on a blast from Andrew Q off a Lyle Thompson feed. But Josh Talbot came right back immediately, converting a Justin Martin pass in transition 34 seconds later for the eventual game winner. Georgia thought they had it tied at 8:32 when Lyle Thompson had put another highlight reel goal in. But on the coach's challenge, it was deemed that Thompson was just in the crease just before the ball entered the net. Nick Rose got a piece of it, which saved it. The Rock increased the lead when Dan Craig fired a high-to-high shot off a Corey Small pass, followed by Challen Rogers flying a shot into the empty net just as Brett Dobson was sliding on past at 12:16. Final score was Toronto 12, Georgia 9. Your stats of the game, the shots on goal were tied 47-47. Face-off battle went to Georgia since T.D. Erlin was out of the Rock lineup with an injury, 18-10. Loose ball battle went to Georgia 69-66. Swarm went 2 for 4 on the power play, while the Rock went 1 for 3, but also scored a shorthanded goal. Here are the highlights from that game.
Lyle Thompson, the dangerous Thompson, into the middle. Oh, what a save by Rose! So all of a sudden, the Swarm trailing after so many great opportunities. Comes in front and they score. They do get it one right back, and Lyle Thompson, goal number 299. You lost possession, other opportunity for the Rock, and it's Mazuka in transition, scores! That's Shorty! Thompson hands it off to Seth Oakes. Oakes wants to shoot, fakes once, now goes twice and scores! Georgia with its first lead tonight. Picks it up again as this Toronto defense continues to be tested. Miller gets a return feed in front and scores! That's cute. Andrew Q and to 5-on-5 for the Rock now 0 for 1 on the power play, but not done with the pressure, they get one! Lyle Thompson gets around his man Martin to the goal, scores! Lyle Thompson, he's got another. Lots of time on the shot clock. Lyle Thompson, a goal or 2 goals and an assist. That one goes off the side. Oh, it does go in. It sneaks past Rose. 40 seconds gone in the penalty to Mitch Desnew. Lyle Thompson controlling up top, 3 goals and an assist. There's another shot and a goal. And Georgia gets a power play goal this time. Kostiuk plays over to the far side. There's a shot and a goal. Small again. That was a rip. And the Rock are back within 2. 5-point night for Lyle Thompson. 3 goals, 2 assists. Been a big part of the Georgia lead so far. Long shot, scores! Corey Small. He's got another hat trick. 1:45 to go in the third. Matthews, the big man, scores! Tie game! Mark Matthews. Moves to the far side, back up top to Miller. Feeds that one through, it's in! It fools Nick Rose, and with 50 seconds to go, first loss of the season, while the Rock are trying to get to 5-0 for the first time in the franchise's history, and they come in and score again! One of the season brings us to an 8-8 score. Now he feeds Small and tight, and Corey Small make it 4. And the Rock jump in front, it's 9-8. Again, puts him in behind the goal. Now it comes to Q, quickly over to Bonberry. Back up top, Lyle Thompson. Q again towards the middle. Lets it go, scores! With 2 seconds. Watch transition team led by Martin, feeds in the middle, scores! Kostiuk in front.
Better for us to play 5-on-5 unless we have a clear-cut opportunity. You don't want it.
Here's Craig, scores!
Oh my.
Falling away, Dan Craig, his second of the quarter of the save. Looking at a goal he scored before in this league. Dobson hustles back towards the net. He might be too late. He is! Rogers gives the Rocket.
And there you go. If you're interested in Brett Dobson, what a great goalie he is. You can check out my other show. I had him on as a guest last Thursday. Very interesting guy. Diagnosed with diabetes from a young age and works with that and shows that it's not an impediment at all. And he does quite great work and quite a role model. Even has his own goaltending camps and clinics that he's got off the ground for the goalies of the future. So fantastic guy, really well spoken, very intelligent kid. I was also talking with Sean Veras, who's the assistant coach on Georgia, also a decent friend of mine, and he was nominated by the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame for this year's well deserving.
Awesome.
He had a great career as a player, and he's been a phenomenal coach for 20 plus years on everything, as well as being front office management for Canada and a number of other organizations. So really well deserved. He goes, promised him I'd fly out for the ceremony if he got the nod. So I have family in Vancouver. I'd like to see it. Give me a reason to do it. Anyways, Toronto wins, stays perfect, 12-9. That brings us over to the Vancouver-Saskatchewan game, Shawn.
Yeah.
And we usually talk about a tale of two games and two halves, but this was 3 quarters and 1 quarter, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Warriors dominate the second half, come back. Charlene Beattie shines 4 goals, 3 assists. Yeah.
Yeah, another case of Saskatchewan not putting together 60 minutes.
Does it have something to do with all the bye weeks and they just aren't in game shape?
So that's part of it. I mean, you look at their schedule. They had, I believe it was Albany, and they're on the bye week. And then they had the postponement with Philadelphia. And then they come back. And quite honestly, they got off to not a bad start. You'd think maybe they're going to kick off the rust. I mean, it was 3-3 after the first, and the Rush were up 7-3 at the half. So they got off to a quick start. And that's the other thing I was going to make in that point was that after this game, the Rush are back on another bye week. So they just
even crazier, isn't it?
So even with this, can't play 60 minutes, they can barely even get a schedule in. Like they get any type of momentum going, and then bye week. But anyways, yeah, Rush are up 7-3 at the half. Again, kind of back and forth in the third quarter. Rush were up 9-5, and then the fourth quarter happened, where Rush just ran out of gas, literally, and gave up 6 unanswered goals, and including 3 from Adam Charlene Beatties. And yeah, it's a question mark now of like at least for the Rush, there's enough talent on this team, but it's an ongoing story. This team could be 4-1 if they put 60 minutes together.
Yeah. It's a little concerning. We have the press conference that you put up with Jimmy Quinlan answering some questions, some of your questions. Yeah. And why don't we give that a listen before we give the highlights a look?
It sucked. I mean, I thought for 45 minutes we were really good, and then I'll have to watch the tape, but I know we ran out of gas. And so it's been a long time since we've had a game, and we put a lot of you put a lot of responsibility upon your players' shoulders to make sure they're staying at it, and it's really hard to replicate the pace of a game. And I thought again for 45 minutes, we were real good, and for the last 15, we couldn't really accomplish much. And I told the guys, when your legs go, your head goes with them. And so we started making mistakes that we hadn't made for 45 minutes, and we haven't actually made since probably training camp or Halifax. And so we got to figure it out and figure it out fast.
What's your message in the locker room? Imagine there's got to be some level of frustration.
Yeah, there's a lot of frustration. I think, though, I think really all you can do is work. You can start, starting tomorrow, you start breaking down the film on the next opponent and start breaking down film on yourself. And, again, for players, they've got to get in there and start doing the work. And, it sucks because, again, we're off for another week. And then we play again. And then we start playing a ton. And, again, not looking too far ahead. But the message to our guys is we've got to be better in the week doing the work. And making good choices, whether it be going to bed early and watching the video and eating right. Those are all things that, again, that we can control. And the last thing I said to the guys, and I was guilty of it too there in the fourth quarter, is when things are going well, you never look at the scoreboard, and then when they start kind of not maybe going your way, you start looking up there. And again, that's a direct result of your focus shifting from what it needs to be onto, again, something that is a direct result of the process. And so it's getting back to doing the things we need to do.
Is it maybe a little bit of a positive to take away that you guys got off to maybe a faster start, especially considering you probably haven't had a game in probably close to 3 weeks postponement?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that's been said about some of our starts. I think the game in Vegas, we started on time and we were real good. Against the game here against Rochester, I thought we were up 2-0 through 10 minutes. And again, I didn't think I really liked our start, to be honest, because we talked as a group about having no penalties in the first 5 minutes. That seems to be what's derailed us in the games where we haven't started well, and we took one and they scored on the power play. And so, again, I thought our guys, early in the game, they were doing things, and we expected it, and we did a good job kind of breaking some of the things they wanted to do and put ourselves in a really good position at the half. We just, again, 45 minutes is not 60, and that's what we need to play.
Again, how tough is it? Again, you had that lengthy break, you play again, you're on a break again.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough, and but it's a performance business, and those are excuses, and we've got to be better. And so, we've challenged our players to be better, and they've always risen to the challenge, being a young group, and I think they're going to do the same. And so, like I said earlier, I think all you can really do here is, as bad as the feeling is, you can take the positives and, again, just continue to do the work. And I think the work we've been doing away from the game, all of us, we can do more. And, again, that's what we're going to do.
I guess.
Both says it all, doesn't it? Eduardo has a different take.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
A little bit of 60, a little bit of 40, I think. But let's look at the highlights and see exactly where it all sits.
By the Syracuse smash. Inside for Robert Church, and he scores! Just like that. Crowley, Charlem Beatties. Behind the net, Kyle Killen, flip for Ball, time and space, and he scores. Keegan Ball catches some air. Robert Church now. Match up with Wilmot. Dots inside, sets the pick. Over to Mans, and he scores! Pound your chest, Saskatchewan. Ball has the rebound. Crowley, the new West stop. Zips it down. Charlem Beatties inside, scores. Tic-tac-toe, the Warriors.
Hard to see there. Good positioning, drop to his knees, butterfly style save, keeps it out.
Messenger down Main Street, and he puts it top shelf where Grima keeps the good stuff. Grenia. Cameron Grenia has Dots. Down for Messenger. Duncan scores! Roll the highlight reel! There's very few players that can, let alone remain on their feet, but hold the ball too. As Walter, count it. Clark, Walter to the net. You couldn't walk that one in any better. Now the power play back to work. Keenan still up top. Flip for Mans over to Church. Quick stick, scores. One-timer for Robert Church on the power play. Gets it going when Grenia back to him. It's an Alberta connection. Mike Triolo, low cut to the net, scores! Roll the highlight reel! Triolo takes the first-class play. Beatties with 3-point games going on. Kevin Crowley has 2. Charlem Beatties make it 4. He's got his second of the game. Warriors down by 3. We'll go now. He'll backpedal in front of that Warriors bench. Charlem Beatties got through Jake. Charlem Beatties to the net, scores! Patrick Adam Charlem Beatties in Vancouver is down by 2. McCully outside, Lowen now to the middle, through everyone, and he scores! Rush defenders collide, no mistake made. Crowley across for Charlem Beatties. Hot stick in this contest. Crowley wide open rebound, scores. Tie ball game. Kevin Crowley, his second of the contest. Finds Charlem Beatties. Switches hands, back for Ball, outside look, and he scores. Keegan Ball puts Vancouver in front with 8:11 to go. Near perfect for Aaron Bolt here. Now driving to the net, Charlambides. Just a free lane opens up, and Adam Charlambides buries.
No, I seem to notice in this is in the second half, the defensive coverage just went AWOL. There was nowhere to be found.
Well, that's where I
All
kind
these
of
lanes were opening.
That's where I disagree with what Eduardo said, was because you looked at those two Charlambides goals in the fourth quarter. He just walked right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the first half,
That's not Vancouver waking up. That's not Vancouver waking up. That's Saskatchewan breaking down.
Yeah, that's their missing assignments, and just again, like I said about the Toronto thing in the Buffalo series in the playoffs, if you want to watch the game, you need to buy a ticket. Don't be standing on the middle of the floor watching. You need to be moving. These guys were just absolutely being spectators through that fourth quarter.
Like I said, that's just the ongoing issue. We saw it in Halifax. They gave up 6 goals right off the bat. We saw it against Albany, where the Rush could have won that one, ended up sending it to overtime. The same thing again. They let Rochester in against that game. Even in their win against Las Vegas, they had a lapse where Vegas got a few goals and made it a little bit closer.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing issue, and I don't want to use the word finger point, but is it the coaching? Is it the players? Where does this land,
Well, something has to happen very soon, because before you know it, you're at the halfway point of the season, and if you're
sitting in dead last right now, so
forget about it, right? So it's too hard to meet up with the teams like the Albanys, the Torontos, the Buffaloes that are going to be pulling off these wins if you're only sitting with 1 or 2 wins out of 10 games.
Yeah,
that's going to be a difficult hill to climb. Just before we move on to our last game, just a reminder, this part of the show is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips.
All right, guys, if you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. Go to phillysportstrips.com. They have self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights from the Philadelphia airport. Packages include direct flights, 4-night stays, all-inclusive tailgate parties, lower-level group tickets. Whatever you want, you got it with phillysportstrips.com. If you want to travel to an upcoming Phillies game, make sure you check out Philly Sports Trips. And do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2023 season. Jump on it now, because you do not want to lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to phillysportstrips.com.
Absolutely. All right, that brings us to our last game of the weekend. And that was Calgary and Colorado. And once again, I got this wrong. How about the Calgary, after last week's showing against Vancouver, would have moved a little bit more momentum into this game. And we haven't said this all year, a very hot Colorado team cooled down the Roughnecks. Kelly scores 4 goals to lead the Mammoth to a victory at the Loud House.
Yeah, and again, I guess, we talked about it before with Dylan Ward as well, and how he's been looking. He looked much better in this game, much better. I don't know if he's healing up now or what, but really it started off as a back and forth game, 5-5 at the half, and even heading into the fourth quarter, Colorado was only up 8-7. It was kind of that fourth quarter where Colorado started to pull away. They had the 3-goal run. Connor Kelly, Edwards and Gibson put them up 11-7. Calgary came back with a couple of power play goals with Tanner Cook and Shane Simpson. But then again, Kelly struck again. Caputo, which is, especially with that transition game, having him back in the lineup's a big help. And Thomas Hogarth kind of got one late, but at that point it's more or less garbage time at that point. And yeah.
And that's all she wrote. And once again, a courtesy of the National Lacrosse League, we have some clips for you. And let's give a look.
So that's Hayden Dixon with it down there. He had some good goals to start the game. Last week, they get it inside, and again, They will score, and they'll get it going, and it's Tanner Cook. Tanner Cook, we talked about him in the open. He was all trick there with Dylan Kinnear. Kinnear back up after missing last week's game. Connor Robinson with a 2-set, trying to work one-on-one, and sneaks it. Colorado's 0-for-1 on the power play tonight. Now a little two-man game, works inside, tie ball game. Diving attempt for Calgary.
And both said Williams kind of run around and really knocking some bodies. Kind of seeing how far these refs are going to let it go.
Oh, and what a twister, and put in that time by Hayden Dixon. He was falling down, but kept his body upright enough to launch a shot. Connor was able to wear the A for a game early in the season when a couple of guys missed because of a fight. Now they work to the middle. What a beautiful just touch play. So there's Calgary. There's a nice shot, but Dylan to the task. He had his stick in the 5-hole. Now he tries to go deep. Oh, he's able to complete the pass. Gillis and score! Jordan Gillis. Here's a wide open Connor Kelly, but he shot high, and that was turned away. Del Bianco all over that. Now he has transition chance. On the run, Calgary is in, shot, score! And that'll be Shane Simpson with the tally. A transition goal for Calgary. I don't know if he got it out of there. Came out kind of funny, but another transition chance for Colorado. They've got numbers, backside, Brett Craig, goal! Brett Craig with the slow run, and a great job by Jordan Gillis to be patient and find the trailing man.
Fan who's watching at home are kind of looking at the stat sheet, but when you see a guy like Chris Worrell kind of get to the scoring tally, you know that this offense is fully going.
Picked up by Hayden Dixon, and a goal. The run is over. Dixon just took that ground ball on a hop and fired it home past. So Colorado with it again. They are on a 2-goal run, hoping to make it 3. There's a shot fired. Oh, rebound, Tyson Gibson. Big shot by Connor Robinson. Gibson.
And that is your final with Colorado coming out victorious. Yeah. If we take a look at the standings, let me just put this out there. You'll see that Toronto is ahead at 5-0. Albany right on their tail, 6-1. San Diego 4-2. Rochester at 3-2. Georgia at 4-3. Buffalo at 3-3. Las Vegas 2-3. Philadelphia at 2-3. Calgary at 2-3. Panther City at 2-3. Halifax at 2-3. New York and Vancouver both at 2-4. Colorado at 2-4. And coming up the rear is the Saskatchewan Rush at 1-4. A big hill to climb.
Yep.
So,
but not impossible.
Nothing's impossible yet. We're only 8 weeks in.
Yeah. So third of the way in.
Yeah. Anyways, before we wrap up, I just want to remind everybody this part of the show is brought to you by David R. Cherry and Associates.
All right, guys, let's talk about Cherry Law Firm. If you get hurt at work in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, or affected by criminal law, you got to call David R. Cherry of the Cherry Firm. Call 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your rights. Again, that number is 610-565-0300. That's 610-565-0300 or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Let David R. Cherry fight for your right.
All right, and just having a look at what's upcoming in the NLL next week. On Friday night, we have Colorado visiting Vancouver. On Saturday, you have Rochester and Halifax facing one another. That's going to be a pivotal match.
Yep.
That's going to be a big one. You have Buffalo coming to Toronto, another big match. Again, the undefeated Rock, but Buffalo and Toronto always have brutally physical games. One way or the other, doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter how either team is doing. They always get up for one another. It's kind of like Montreal and Toronto in the NHL. Didn't matter if the Leafs were last and Montreal was first. They always seem to play each other like it was for the Stanley Cup. And this will be no different. Georgia heads into New York, a pissed off Georgia Swarm team. But New York has been looking really good lately. So again, this is another one to circle on the calendar of, will Jeff Teat be able to run wild on that Georgia defense? I don't know. They're pretty vivacious team. Big guys too. San Diego heads into Philadelphia, and our man Pat will be on that game. And I believe we have another one. Yeah, Panther City in Vegas for the last game of the week.
Yeah, and a number of these, the Colorado Vancouver game, that's doesn't seem like a big one, but that's back end of a 2-game set.
Yep.
And remember, that was that game that Vancouver, I believe, went scoreless in the second half and allowed Colorado to come back from 5 or 6 down,
Right.
force overtime, and ended up losing that game. So that's a win that the Warriors kind of let slip out of their hands. And same thing with Panther City, Las Vegas. Panther City was up late, allowed that last second goal to force overtime, and Vegas walked away with a win on the road. So Panther City will be looking to return the favor there on that. So
it'll be an interesting week for sure.
Definitely.
Just a reminder, everybody, that we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, we are on Thread, and we are on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, not only is our library there, but 2 more retro games went up today. Toronto versus Philadelphia from 2010, and Buffalo against Rochester from 2009. Both excellent games. Both are up there for your viewing pleasure. Please visit over there and have a little look around. While you're there, please subscribe to our channel. There are a lot of things up there: press conferences, fights, interviews, our library of shows, as well as at least 15 retro games up there now, and more coming. There'll be a few more this week. From the middle days, there's at least 3 games that I have to put up still. So it will be a busy little time to keep you going, to keep your lax feet, your lax fix going during the week. Again, visit our Facebook page 3, 4, 5 times a day, because the news is always changing. And as we get closer towards trade deadline, there will be a lot more movement happening, especially from some of the lower teams, on whether they're going to keep and be buyers or start becoming sellers. And we've already seen a little bit of movement going and a little bit of tinkering, but the big pieces are still yet to drop. So it should be an interesting time in the next probably 3 to 4 weeks. But keep a hold of our pages, and we have our finger on the pulse of the situation, and we will be able to get you any and all information up to the minute as we can. Any last words, Shawn, first?
No, just like Mike said, looking forward to next week. There's a lot of pivotal games coming up here.
Absolutely. Mike, any last words?
Yeah, just revenge games, grudge matches,
Good old
yeah, hey,
yeah.
It's not easy doing these pick'ems.
No,
it's not. And we've had some great weeks and we've had some not so good weeks. Last week was in the not so good week thing. I'm about due for a good week because I've had about 3 really not so good weeks. So let's hope this is the one where I can actually pick the right one. It hasn't been working so well by analyzing. So go back to like we're gambling. By the way, you Buffalo fans who like the Bills, always next year.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The Warriors wide right, who's been haunting them for years. Well, the tying field goal went wide right.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's terrible when the wind goes against you in your own stadium. Anyways, let's get back on to finishing up lacrosse. I want to thank everybody for being with us week in and week out, and being with our pages week in and day out. It's our pleasure to give you things. Oh, Eduardo's got something to say. All right.
Won't be surprised. Yeah.
Won't be next week.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Won't be next week.
No, that'll be in 2 weeks' time. They can seethe for a week now. They can be like a lot of other teams that have lost and had to go to a bye week.
Right.
Yeah.
And the game afterwards is Vegas or something like that, Mike.
I believe so. Check on that though.
I don't envy them. Could be a very ugly week.
Yeah.
Rock and Buffalo have 10 minutes of penalties apiece. I would put another 0 there. They hate each other.
Yeah.
They hate
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
The fist will be flying.
Absolutely.
And it won't take much. Maybe the end of the national anthem, pretty much.
Yeah.
It takes just that little. Oh, Eduardo's still going. Be a force of nature on Rochester. I like Rochester. I think that they have a lot of gumption. I think this is going to be a heck of a game for lacrosse fans. You are going to see an awful lot of skill from the offensive prowess of both teams. Hopefully, Austin Shanks is able to make his flight. He couldn't make a flight, which is why he couldn't play against Toronto, and that really affected the outcome there. Oh, that is all. Eduardo got his 2 cents in as well. Once again, I want to thank everybody for being with us week in and week out. It is our pleasure to give it to you, and we love all the feedback that we've been getting. And please, if you got anything to give us, by all means, please DM us, and we're more than happy to read it. Until next week, for Shawn Slaght over in, right now, Moose Jaw.
Yep.
And for Muffler Mike over in Connecticut, I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, hopefully with a deep thaw coming. Wishing you all the best of weeks. Remember, keep your stick in your hand, and until next week, take care, and we'll see you then.